So, I bet you guys are wondering what changes in the PP system. And like I said, this website is not updated, okay? It's behind the times. It's not what's going to change. But a bunch of people on Reddit freaked out because they're like, these are the final changes? This is how Osu is going to be changing? Not realizing that it's not complete. And that, you know, partially has to do with the wording, partially has to do with people just manufacturing outrage. But that's a story for another time, right? So let's go over everything that's going to be included in this update. You ready? Once again, make speed skill consider only shortest jump distance from sliders. This was a bug where it thought that the distance from a slider to the next note was longer than it was. That's the easiest way to explain it, okay? So they fixed that bug, and you'll notice a lot of stuff with speed skill. Not just speed plays, but all plays have the speed skills. You know, whatever had a high difficulty because of some of these jumps from the sliders will be nerfed slightly, right? Because there's a bug. It was unintentionally gaining PP from that, okay? There's a lot of flashlight ones, some high-level flashlight ones, which are, you know, hard to understand unless you really know how the PP calculator works and you're working with it, right? Like, remove flashlight strain decay factor, or fix cumulative strain time calculation in flashlight skill. It's like, you guys probably don't know what that means, but here's the easiest thing to say. Flashlight's changing a little bit. That's the easiest way to explain it, okay? And there's some more, but there's some more specific ones we'll go over as well. More accurate calculation of effective miscount. Effective miscount is the estimation that the PP calculator makes of how many times you missed, right? Because if you, let's say that there's like a 2400 combo map, if you get 2000 combo on that, it's like, we're pretty sure you slider broke, right? You could probably guesstimate that. And, you know, that raises your effective miscount. Because a slider break isn't quite a miss, or you know, it's something like that. And as far as I'm aware, also like maybe the 50s Nerf uses effective miscount. It's something like that. So basically they made it more accurate. It will now more accurately try and figure out like how much you missed in a play. Okay. Consider hit object opacity in the flashlight skills. So this is huge for, I mean, normal flashlight, but also hidden flashlight especially, right? Because now this is considering, oh, well, maybe the hit objects aren't fully faded in or faded out as they are with hidden, right? So that will give a buff to people hitting objects which they, in theory, shouldn't know anything about or shouldn't be able to hit, right? Makes sense. Makes sense. Improve double tap detection and speed skill. This is not what a lot of people think it is. A lot of people think this is the Hidamari fix or whatever, but it's not. This actually has to do with a very interesting map that was ranked recently. Let me see if I can pull up the video. So, you know doubles, right? Where it's boom, boom, 2 notes. It's like a triple, but you don't do the last note, right? There were some maps that had like 400 BPM doubles, right? And then if you added on DT, they would kind of get Gunga busted by PP. So take a look at this video. Watch the PP counter at this section. Because the game looks at it, and it's like, oh, these are 600 BPM doubles? What? You know, and it freaks out. But as we all know, it's not as hard to hit that. You can just double tap it. Right, so that's a fix to that. They've fixed that up using this change. That's what this is. Remove difficulty spike nerf from flashlight skill again. You know, some of the stuff, but that's interesting. Change speed accuracy scaling to be closer to worst case scenario. Now this is what's going to kill Hidamari. Finally, this is a much better change. You might remember a couple ones back they made the 50s nerf, right? Which was the more and more 50s that you got, the harder your score would be nerfed. It was meant as a band-aid fix to people double tapping Hidamari no Uta, right? Which was, it was like, it's not ideal, right? But it's the best that they could do at the time. But now they figured out something much better, right? Which is now, whenever you're playing a map, it will assume that you dropped accuracy on the hardest to tap parts, rather than just, you know, following some sort of like linear scaling or something like that like it was before. It will now assume that it was on the hardest parts, right? So in Hidamari no Uta's case, it was just sort of assuming like, oh, overall in the map you just got lower accuracy, but now it's like, oh, you got your 100s on the death stream. Now this does, you know, unintentionally nerf some other maps, and the scaling might be a little bit harsh right now. Who knows? Who knows? But you know, that's to be decided soon, right? And in future reworks probably. Remove non-overlapping velocity buff from aim. All of us know this. It's the Xande nerf. So there was a certain type of pattern that was being overbuffed in that. So what they did was they were like, you know what? Let's just remove that code. And it does nerf some maps that are really cool, right? But the way to look at it is those maps were gaining PP for the wrong reasons to begin with, right? So let's just hold out for a future PP system where they're actually buffed for the right reasons, for being actually hard. Namely, you know, Trance Dance Anarchy, Wizard's Tower Occultist difficulty, you know, those ones. So those are all the ones that are already implemented into the PP calc, but they're still waiting on a batch of changes right here. Okay, and they've changed a few things, okay? Number 1. Slight raw aim buff, which does not include slider aim or high BPM aim. There's your aim buff. Woo! Everyone's been asking for that for a while. This one has to do with relax PP, which doesn't matter until laser, because in laser all mods will be ranked, and that's why they need relax PP. But you know, that doesn't really matter for us right now. Reduce speed 50s nerf, which you know, they would love to remove in the future, but there you go. That goes in tandem with the speed accuracy scaling, right? Why? Why are you linking this? Yeah, it goes right in tandem with that. They're like, you know what? Let's try and rip off the bandit. Let's try and take off the speed 50s nerf. They don't remove it completely. They just reduce it quite a lot, right? Which you know, maybe or over nerf something. I don't know, dude. Just it'll be much more forgiving than it was before. Okay, you know. And then reduce low AR bonus, because some maps were getting more PP with easy than without. Example being because maybe part 2 with halftime easy being higher PP than just with halftime, because of the low AR buff that's currently happening. So they've reduced the low AR bonus. Okay, they've done it. So sad. But it's what needed to happen, you know. And there's been a few other ones since here, okay? So you can see the initial commits. They've since then, because people were angry at Reddit, on Reddit. Sorry, not at Reddit. They were angry at this on Reddit about everyone losing PP. They decided to adjust the global multiplier, meaning they've inflated the PP values by about 1 to 2% for everyone. So so people gain instead of losing. Which is funny. So they've done some other things. Let's see. They did that. They added the sheet. And then eventually they were like, we gotta unimprove. In light of player satisfaction, we should consider looking into increasing the PP multiplier. So they did that. Okay. Okay. They increased global multiplier. And then they were like, you know what? Well, maybe we should change it. So the global multiplier goes down. You know, and the aim one, or the global multiplier goes up, sorry, and the aim multiplier goes down. Just a little bit to fix it. So aim still does gain, actually. It was just to compensate for the loss from the speed bug. Or the slider bug, I should say. So, those two changes have been approved and they're fully in. And also, it changes star rating now. So, they were like, oh yeah, we should probably make it so star rating changes just like that. So, they did that. I think. Just multipliers to account for speed. I want to see star rating. Oh, yep, they did fix star rating. So star rating should be higher now. Hey, isn't that crazy? Yeah, and you can see they changed the base multiplier to a 1.14. Crazy. So that is all of the changes for PP. Now you know every single change that's happened in this thing so far. Who knows? Maybe they'll be able to squeak in a few more changes. I don't know. It's just a bunch of small changes all bundled into one package.